Hello and welcome back to CrossFit Harrow Podcast. This is episode 64 and we are here with Gaby. Gaby, we're going to dive straight in. Thank you for coming on. The first question that we tend to ask is, what brought you to CrossFit Harrow?
So during the first lockdown, all the gyms and swimming pools were closed.
Okay.
So I was just running basically, like every day I'd go for a run. And then I got injured.
Through running?
Through running. So I went to the physio and he gave me all these exercises and stuff to do, which I was terrible at doing.
Was that because they knew you'd never done them before, never been injured? Was that?
Oh no, I've had quite a few injuries from running. Normally with my knees and hips and stuff. So I normally have to be quite careful and definitely shouldn't have been running every day.
Well, a lot of people did do that through, they took up running in the first lockdown.
Yeah, and because there was nothing else to do. I was this is the only way I can kind of keep fit, so I kind of...
Yeah, because your background is triathlon, right?
Yes.
So that's, running to you is pretty normal anyway.
Yeah.
How often would you be running? Before anything changed, how often?
So before lockdown, it would be maybe like 2 or 3 sessions a week.
Okay.
Like when I was properly doing triathlon, and then I kind of stopped triathlon training a few years ago now.
Okay.
So
it's been like 10 years doing triathlon.
Yeah, I did triathlon for about 10 years.
Wow.
Before that, I was part of a swimming club, so I used to swim probably 9-10 times a week.
Wow.
So I'd be in the pool before school, and then go to school, and then go back to in the water after.
You were swimming competitively?
Yeah. I'd compete a few. Yeah.
Wow.
Quite a lot.
That's a lot of hours of swimming.
Yeah, so much. Then I kind of got bored of it, and then started doing triathlon after that. And then...
Was that your new challenge?
Yeah.
So stop swimming, and obviously there is the swim involved in the triathlon, but you kind of linking that together.
It was kind of like a step up, so it kind of still had the swimming element, but I had the new challenge of the bike and the run.
And what's the full distance of the triathlon?
Oh, there's different distances. So
Have you done all the different ones?
No, I've done from sprint to half Ironman.
Wow.
I still haven't done full one, but
is that on the cards?
Not at the moment. I won't say never, but yeah, maybe one day in the future.
In January last year, I convinced myself that I was going to do an Ironman for 5 seconds, and never happened. And I will definitely say, I am saying never. It's so demanding.
Oh, it's so much training.
The swimming's the hardest part, right?
Depends. Not for me. I love the swim. For me, the run was the hard part.
Because it's the full Ironman's a full marathon.
Yeah. And
the swim is 5 miles? No.
It's a 4K, so 3.8K.
Okay.
Which is...
No idea. I'm not even pretending I know.
I think it's 1.9 miles.
Okay.
And then the bike is
50K? More?
No, it's 180K.
Oh my god.
And then a 42K marathon.
But there's a 16-hour time cap, isn't there, on the full Ironman? 16
or 17, like around that, yeah.
And if you don't, that's your time cap, 16 hours.
Even if you're like 10 metres from the end, you're kind of...
That's, wow. So how many half Ironmans have you done?
I want to say 6, 7.
One a year? Has that been like one a year or multiple within the year?
It's, I guess, probably one a year.
So you've been doing them from young?
Yes, I started triathlon when I was 16 maybe.
Wow.
And so I started with sprint distance, but I'm not very fast, so it was you need to be, if you're doing that distance, you need to be fast, and I'm really not fast. So I started sprint, moved up to Olympic, which was double the distance, kind of got into that, but still I like the half Ironman distance. That's
wow. So you've always been pretty sporty, pretty competitive.
Yeah. Just since we were kids, we've always done some sort of sport. I think so. My mum, she got us into swimming because she couldn't swim, so she kind of chucked us in the water and was like, "You're going to learn to swim."
But I think it's such a basic life skill
and it's an amazing skill
that we should all have. Yeah.
So swimming's always been my favourite. Progress that into triathlon, and then like even now I still love swimming.
Still casually swim.
Yeah. Well, I go down to the lake at the moment. The lakes are open, so I go down to the lake a few times.
Open water is so hard.
I love it.
I tried it once, and I'm not sure if I'll try it ever again.
Oh, what?
Is it Windsor?
There's a few places where you can swim.
So there's one in Windsor, and I went there with a friend of mine, and she's a good swimmer. And I didn't have a wetsuit. I just had my shorts, and it was fucking freezing.
Yeah. Do you know how cold it was? Do you remember?
No, but the distance was 750 metres,
okay.
I think. But I don't know the temperature.
What time of year was it?
This was during lockdown, so it would have been a summer's day, but it was like towards the evening.
Okay.
I'd never done open water swimming. Forgot about all the things that were floating in the water. Obviously realised I couldn't touch the sides, and it took me the best part of 45 minutes. And where they had like Takeshi's Castle's obstacle course things in Windsor, so I had to swim over to hold on to the things because I thought I was going to drown. And I will never ever do that again. It's so hard.
Oh, but
How do you build up that tolerance? What's your advice in building up that tolerance to open water swimming? Just do it.
I think just practice. Like even now at the lake, you see people that are brand new to swimming. They just have to just practice, get in there every week and just do it. Even if you're not doing start with a short distance, do 100, 200 meters, but just practice. It's just a totally different experience than swimming in the pool. Yeah.
I guess you probably invested quite a lot in wetsuits and stuff. That they don't come cheap, right?
They're not cheap, no. But yeah, for a wetsuit, if you're going to swim properly, you need a proper wetsuit.
Yeah, because you can't swim without it, right? You're not allowed.
You can. Yeah, you can swim without it if you want. It helps for speed. It keeps more buoyant on the water. Yeah,
that's what I needed because my head's like this and my legs are down the bottom. But for those of you that might be thinking about the background noise, it's the rain on the roof. So swimming in school.
Yeah.
Any other sports in school?
I actually hated PE. We did PE at school, and I absolutely hated it because it was so. There's people there that don't want to do PE.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there. They have to do it, so they're there. And it was just we had 50 minutes a session. By the time everyone's changed and kind of does it, it's ready.
And people would purposely
just take their time to get,
so
they didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But PE was at school, we did bench ball. Every session was bench ball. And it's just, so repetitive.
It's an easy session.
Yeah, it's just not, I just didn't enjoy it.
Have you found that aerobically coming from triathlon swim background has helped you with in CrossFit?
Definitely. The endurance stuff I can
master.
I can just power through. When we do the burpees and I'm not amazing at them, but I can just keep going.
Just because you got that engine.
Yeah, I've got that endurance side to me. It's when we do the power stuff that I really struggle.
And how would you how are you managing, like you were saying before, the amount of injuries through the running and stuff? How were you balancing that with training, and what was you doing to let's say get through them or recover?
With triathlon it was quite good because if I was injured with running, I could still cycle or swim. It's just I just had so many injuries with running that I just don't think every time I lost the injury went, then I got into running again and then got injured again. So running was always my weak link. But then in swimming I didn't have any injuries. Cycling I had a few bike accidents.
Really.
One of the worst one was in my shoulder. So I was going. It was uni, so I was going out on a ride.
Is this training? You were training at this point?
What? Yeah.
Or is it a race?
Just training. But I was just outside my house, and I had my shoes clipped into my bike, and there was a car coming down the road, so I tried to style it out and lean on the car. So instead of unclipping my shoes, I kind of tried to lean on the car, and the car was a bit further than I thought it was, and I literally slid down the car. But I tore all the muscles in my shoulder.
Unclipping and clipping is actually, I find it quite difficult. I'm still a bit new to it.
Yeah.
I've also had my feet in and tried to unclip and went.
Yeah.
and fell over.
That's just practice as well. Though,
Yeah, it is, and I think because the clips are quite new.
Yeah, they're a bit stiff, aren't they?
Yeah, but road cycling's fun.
Yeah.
I took that up a little bit during lockdown, but are there any like good routes that you recommend to people to take? Because there's a lot of people that will listen to this that will go out and cycle.
Like to get nice routes, you have to go out into the countryside. Yeah.
For the roads as well, like Germany.
They're so much quieter. They haven't got potholes. It's out near like Surrey, Windsor.
Yeah.
The Chilterns are really good. They're hilly as well, so you kind of get. You got those hill sessions in there as well.
So growing up, you were training like 9-10 hours a week swimming, school.
Yeah.
And this stopped. When did this stop? Like that, the hours of swimming.
Swimming stopped when I started doing triathlon. So I stopped swimming and started doing triathlon straight away.
How were you managing like your social element of life? Or you said uni as well, right?
Yeah. So social side was kind of fine. That's why I train in the morning, so I can train in the morning and then in the evening I like still depending on the day, but like I train and then like go out, meet friends or whatever. So yeah, that was kind of
The sleep must be such a big thing.
Yeah, I'm not a very good. Like I can get to sleep really easily, but I wake up at like 6 o'clock. I think that's probably from swimming at. So if I swam before school, I'd be in the water at 5:30.
Oh my god.
So I think I'm just used to waking up at stupid o'clock.
That's giving you. So doing that at like what age were you when you started that? Like 5, 6, 7?
Swimming, no, that 10, 11.
10, 11.
Yeah.
So that's giving you the discipline that you've still held on to now.
Yeah.
And getting up.
Yeah,
being in the water at 5:30.
Yeah. So wake up at 5, get in the water at 5:30. That was an hour and a half session. So out at 7, have a bit of breakfast, go to school.
Wow. You would have needed a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
Did that come from? Well, I mean, at that age, you probably wouldn't have done like a lot of like the gels that a lot of the guys do and stuff, but it would have come through that. Well, how did you get that in?
Yeah. So I've always been a really fussy eater. Like my parents, they'd always make like fresh homemade meals, like healthy stuff.
Didn't want it at that age.
I didn't want it. No, I ate because I had to eat, and not because I kind of enjoyed eating.
Yeah. I can understand that.
And it's probably not until I started swimming when I was doing all that training, I was getting hungry. So I kind of ate, but it was like basic food.
Just getting calories
in.
Is that how you looked at it then too?
I don't know. I don't think I really thought about it that much. I was hungry, so I ate. But it was kind of like pasta. That's kind of my staple. Like, can't go wrong with it.
And how many hours a week now would you say that you're training, like with CrossFit and doing the other stuff that you might be doing?
I think I do a session a day. That's kind of like I think if I don't train, then I haven't got that focus.
Okay.
So I need to
So it's Saturdays, Sundays still, but the intensities would vary.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll just go for like it could just be like a short run, or I'll go down to the lake and do a swim.
Yeah.
I get like the intense ones are these CrossFit sessions.
But that's the thing that a lot of people kind of misjudge is that, you know, when they're recovering or using a day's recovery, they'll often work out too hard. Yeah. Which will stop them later on down the line. Yeah. So your runs that you do on your kind of like, let's say, off days would be very, very easy, let's say.
Yeah.
Just kind of a bit of a stroll.
Just to do something, like I need that kind of...
Feel good factor.
Yeah.
Tick you over.
Feel good after it.
And you've said that you've got a love for travelling. Yeah. You've been on a few travels.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So it's probably not until... So after uni, I moved to Italy for a few years.
Okay.
So I worked out there. And that's probably when we'd always gone on holiday, like in the summer and stuff. But then not until I moved to Italy that I sort of found my love for it.
Yeah.
Like it was, so my dad's from Sardinia, and so that's where we'd go in the summer. And then I moved out there to work. And then...
What did you do out at work?
I was event organiser.
Okay.
So we'd organise like triathlon races and sport, like swimming stuff.
That's pretty cool, seeing that you had a passion for that. Yeah. Did you fall into that?
So I was actually on holiday there, and my dad's like brother's friend or something. They were organising the world champs out there, and they needed someone that spoke English and Italian. And I just happened to be there on holiday, and found him, and he's like, "Do you want a job?" And I said, "Of course."
So that's led you to that ever since, like events organising.
I stayed on there. It was only supposed to be like an 8-month contract. I ended up staying there for 2 years because
wow,
it's such an amazing place. Like it's beautiful.
The food is
sea, sun.
It's amazing. I went to Naples last year, and I can still taste the food that I had. It's unreal. So event organising is your thing.
Yeah.
So how did you manage? Even with your love for travelling, how were you managing like work, your races, training? How was that going?
Squeezing everything in.
Just threw it in and just see what happened.
Yeah, like work-wise, it was a week job. So weekends I was free to kind of like compete if I wanted to. In Italy, it's quite good. So they've got like a lunch break, so they take 3 hours at lunch, which meant 3 hours to train. So I would train like before work and on my lunch break.
It's a different lifestyle.
It's so different, yeah.
And I remember like even being as a kid being in Italy, in that 3 hour siesta was like everyone would like nothing would move, everything was just still. So when you were at uni, did you study what you're in now, or was it completely different?
I did a sport management degree. Okay.
So there is some link.
Yeah. I basically did it because I didn't know what to do with my life. So after high school, I took a gap year to kind of, I actually wanted to like train full time in triathlon, and
make it a career.
Yeah, that was sort of the plan, and then I thought about what if this doesn't work. So I was like, I should probably have a backup plan, and so I signed up to uni, and ended up getting a degree in sport management.
Well, I mean, you've been able to utilise it now.
I've used it.
So the limiting factor of you going, right, I'm going to make this full time, was purely like in case it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And that was quite a big decision to make at 18, 19?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because some like as an 18, 19-year-old also, you're not sure if that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think because all my friends had gone to uni, or they were at uni, I was like, I'll just do what they're doing, and
see what happens.
Signed up.
So let's go back to the travelling. So Italy's been a big part of that.
Yeah. So I was in Italy for 2 years. So I went there to organise the World Champs, and then so every year the World Champs move to a different country. The next year they were going to Australia, and so the event organisers from Australia, they kind of wanted to see how we were running the event in Italy, so they came over to kind of watch and and then I kind of they were like, oh yeah,
we need someone.
Yeah, pretty much. I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, I'd love to go to Australia. Like it's always been my dream to go out there.
Did they call you up?
And they sent me an email after and said like, if you want to come out, the opportunity is here. And I was like, yeah. I didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, of course. So how long did that last out in Australia?
So the job was only for 2 months, and then I was like, well, I'm out here, I might as well stay out here. So stayed out for 2 years.
Oh wow! Did you work after that? Did you grab another job?
So the first year I kind of travelled around. Some friends came out to meet me, and kind of travelled, and then to get a second year visa you have to do 3 months of farm work.
Picking cherries or strawberries.
So I did 2 months of grape picking, but grape picking so you only get paid for what you pick.
Per grape?
No, it's per box. Yeah.
Jeez, I've been picking them all the time.
Yeah. If you don't pick anything, if you pick like 2 bunches, then you get like $2. So
was that enough? Like, did that fund your tour of Australia?
Well, I didn't make much money picking grapes, so I got another job after that in an orange factory.
Picking oranges this time?
No, just like sorting oranges, but you pay per hour.
Right.
So even if you like sorted
What?
3 oranges, you still got your hourly rate.
But the whole picking, being on the front, like in that heat, must have been so hard.
Yes, I was out there. It was kind of winter time, so it was actually really,
Different.
really cold in the mornings. And then later on in the day, it got really hot. But
Because, I'd imagine, I've not been to Australia. It's on my list, but I'd imagine a very outdoor sports lifestyle.
Yeah.
Out there. Did you live that whilst you were there?
so not so much the first year. The first year I got there, and it was kind of, I didn't have the triathlon training. So it was like the first time in 20 years that I hadn't really
Trained.
Like, I didn't have that. I didn't have any races to compete, to train for. So I kind of just.
How was that for you? Did you feel different mentally? Did you just take it on?
I think it was just nice not to
have that responsibility.
Yeah, and not like I didn't want to do it. It was just nice not to have to do it. That's not the right words.
Just not being like a weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, and it's just nice not to.
Because it does, triathlon training does take a lot of time. It's a lot of hours in a week.
Yeah, I spent so many hours training per week, so it's just nice to kind of travel and not have to do it.
So the job in the orange factory in Australia for, you said, 2 years.
Yeah, so after the first year, then I moved to Sydney.
Okay.
I stayed in central Sydney for a few months and then moved out to, I don't know if you know Mandy.
I have no idea about the other side of the world. I just know enough about Harrow and Stanmore and a little bit of Italy.
It's on the coast, so it's
Okay.
surfer paradise.
Oh, did you get into surfing?
I did a bit of surfing, yeah.
Can you surf? Yeah. Well, or?
I can surf, but not well. It's not the word I would use.
Could you go and live with that lifestyle? Could that be you?
If I could, I'd go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Where else after Australia have you been? Like where are these? Have you done a list of countries? Have you gone through quite a lot?
My list is just growing because. In lockdown we've not been able to travel, so I've just been adding countries to my list rather than ticking them off.
Is that going to be one of the first things that you do when you can?
Yeah. So I'm already looking at which countries I can go to. My list is just growing and growing.
Where's your ultimate place to go and visit? Non-sport related.
I think Patagonia.
Okay. I think Kays wants to go there. He's nodding.
Yeah.
He's nodding.
That's been on my list for a long time, and I had a flight booked to. It was in November, and so actually I had a flight to Bali booked, which got cancelled. So I was like, in November, COVID will be gone. I'll go to Patagonia.
Mad how we thought that.
Everyone thought it only lasts a few months. And then a year and a half later, we're still here.
Still here. Okay, and if it was sport related, where would you, if it was for a race, let's say, where would you love to do a race?
There's a guy that I swim with in the morning, and he's doing the Everest Marathon.
Wow.
And I think that would be the ultimate challenge.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you done races aboard, right?
Triathlon races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favourite? What's been your favourite?
It's a hard one.
Have they all been in the heat?
No, most of them have been in England.
Right.
The only one, when I was in Italy, I did a few races out there. The hottest one was when I went to. Well, the only other international race I've done is in America. So I qualified for the World Champs.
Wow.
I went out to Las Vegas.
How old were you when you done that?
When was it? 2013, so I would have been 23.
Qualifying for the World Champs at 23. Is that done by age group, or is that everyone?
Yeah, it's done by age group. So I had to do a qualifying race for it, and that was the worst race of my life. I can tell you that's the worst race I've ever done.
Just physically?
it was just, the weather was terrible. The lake was about 10 degrees. It was rainy, it was windy. I was absolutely frozen. It was the hilliest. So it's, I think they call it the most difficult half Ironman in Europe, just because there's so many. I think there's 56
weather conditions,
hills and weather conditions. 56 hills in 59 miles or something.
Wow.
So it's the most difficult one I could have chosen to do.
So let's talk about the being 23 and qualifying for the World Championship. That in itself is quite a big deal. Did you take that up? As in, did you go to the World Championship? You did?
Yeah, I had to. I couldn't say no. It's always been on my. Like, I always thought, it would be amazing to kind of compete in the Worlds.
So let's put this into perspective. How many people do the qualifying race?
I don't know.
100 plus?
Like in my age group or just overall?
Yeah, age group, yeah.
About 50 maybe.
Okay, and
I'm
then
not too sure.
what's the cut-off? How many get it to go through to the next?
Oh, top 3.
Top 3? Oh, I thought you say like top 3.
In your age group, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that would be, so were you representing England?
No,
France?
Yeah. At that point I only had a French passport, so...
So where does France come into this?
My mum's French.
Okay, so your mum's French, dad's Italian. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
A bit of a European mix.
So representing France. So how did the World Championships go?
Not as well as I hoped.
Okay.
So even the qualifying race, I just put so much pressure on myself to kind of do well.
Yeah. Well, that would be normal for anyone.
But I just really wanted to do well.
Yeah, I was dealing with pressure, yeah.
And then, so I think just by luck I managed to qualify for the Worlds. And then, the actual race just didn't go. I think just because I wanted to do like much better than I did.
How many people race in the World Championships in the age group?
I think it was about 50 in my age group. And I think it came like halfway, but just not what I.
That's amazing.
Not what I hoped.
That's a massive achievement. So like being 23 and qualifying.
I look back on it now and I'm like, that is pretty amazing. At that time I was just so disappointed.
Yeah, of course. Would there be anything that you would change from if you were to repeat that? What would you do differently?
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, because I just put so much pressure on myself to kind of do well and just like get a certain time. And then when I saw that I wasn't getting those times, I was just kind of hating every second of it. Yeah,
because I would imagine like through training it'd be a lot of tracking on your watch of time, like distance, and even the transitions.
Yeah, everything's timed, isn't it?
Yeah. I actually done a sprint triathlon a long time ago, and I underrated the transitions. You lose so much time. Yeah,
getting that wetsuit off, like if you haven't practiced, then that's taking a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, at least. And then there's the whole thing about like having your shoes open or something, or a towel on the floor.
Or like if you want to be super fast, you keep put your shoes ready on your bike. So when you get to the transition line, just jump on your bike and slip your shoes and your feet in.
The order was swim, bike, run. Yeah. But then with the shoes, you wouldn't have socks, you would just put your feet in.
Oh yeah.
So when you come off when you come off the bike, would you then put socks on for your run?
No.
Right.
You just, anything to kind of take 5 seconds off your time.
But then what? That must be pretty uncomfortable. Blisters? You must have had a few blisters in time.
Yeah, but then like depending on your shoe, like the triathlon shoes don't have the seam, so you've got nothing to kind of rub against your feet. Now
this is getting technical. I didn't know. I actually done it on a mountain bike.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a road bike at the time. That was pretty tough. So after the World Championships, how did it leave you with the triathlon? Like your love for it, or did you continue with it after that?
I kept going, but I don't think I had that sort of.
Did it knock you back a little bit?
Yeah, and I still did all the training, but I just wasn't really kind of, I was still raced after a bit, but it just wasn't.
Is there still the competitive edge in you now to do like more races?
I think, I want to get back into it at some point. Not right now, just because it took up so much time. Yeah, but I want to do a marathon. I want to probably do.
As in, foot just by itself, marathon.
Yeah.
By itself.
At some point, I want to do an Ironman.
Oh.
I want to do my new thing is to do an ultra marathon.
Wow. Is this the stuff that's on the bucket list?
Yeah. So my bucket list is like holidays I want to go on, just like random sport adventures. Even just what else did I put on there? I want to do a free diving course.
Wow.
Just random bits that I just want to achieve in life, like
quite sporty bits.
Yeah.
I guess like the headspace that the sport takes and the training, it absorbs quite a lot of, it does require a lot of mental strength to do that. Do you just find that you kind of just get on with it? Do you practice getting mentally stronger? Was there a routine that you've done through training, or things that you listened to, read?
I've always kind of read books and stuff, but I think I just kind of get on with it. Like, I know in the morning I need to kind of get up and do something.
But it's also for the love for the sport.
I just love it as well. I think if you didn't love it, then you wouldn't do it.
And how would you say that CrossFit has helped you, like now with like the runs that you do, or just in general with training?
I just feel like I'm still not strong, but I just feel so much stronger than I used to be. Yeah. Even like when I did my first
intro sessions.
Yeah. Just lifting that bar was just an effort. But I can now add.
Now it's more
even like tiny weights. I can put something on the end.
Well, because it's a massive change. You're so used to like the biggest resistance you've got is the water through training.
Yeah.
And at most on the bike, like the gears.
Like cycling uphill or something.
Yeah, but not so much an external force.
Yeah.
So that would have taken quite a big it's
just a change. My body's never done those sort of.
Did you feel any like physiological changes? Did you see your body shape change? Have you felt different in that sense? It doesn't have to be a yes.
No, I don't know.
Haven't noted. Yeah.
Not something. I'm probably more toned, but like my arms feel a bit less.
Well, I guess in your case, because a lot of your stuff has been like, it's actually quite interesting that we're speaking about this, because in your case, where you weren't sure on how to answer, I think my observation would be that because your sport is more, or you think things more about performance based, that side of it doesn't really bother you.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, which I think a lot more people should apply to their day-to-day. I think it'll make their fitness experience a lot more enjoyable or happier. Because that's never been a really big thing for you. It's more about how are you performing. Like you said earlier, you were eating for fuel.
Like
you needed
times fuel. And getting it done.
And in terms of like how food has changed for you now since not doing as much volume of running, what's happened there?
If I'm not running, I'm still doing something else. So I'm still kind of.
So, like food-wise, nothing's really changed from training when you were training, like close to full time, or the amount of volume. Yeah.
So when I was doing like my full triathlon training, I wasn't fueling properly at all. So like people that I trained with, like I think because running was always like my the weakest element. I was just like, what can I do to get better at running? And everyone, like I saw like all the runners were just so like, they were tall, which was like, no, I can't get taller. So, but they were all like,
really, damn, I can't get taller either.
They were all really like tall and thin.
That's naturally a runner's build.
I just didn't have that like build. So I was like, I just probably need to lose a bit of weight. So I did. That was like my. At the beginning, it was just to kind of lose like a few kilos, and then I lost those few kilos, and then I just kind of got into this kind of vicious cycle of like if I lose weight, then I run faster, and just kept going and kept losing weight.
And essentially a little bit of like health-wise, you know, even performance-wise was declining, right?
Yeah, like I just couldn't do the long sessions anymore.
And sometimes it takes that to realise that actually it's important to fuel yourself or to eat.
Well, it took me a few years to kind of realise, but
yeah. Well, but you know, I guess like some people think, well, if I don't eat, I'll lose weight, which it might work in the very, very short term, very, very short term. But it definitely won't be. Yeah,
when you're doing all these hours of training, you just need to.
Yeah, it needs to fuel.
Yeah. Need to
some like on a calorie perspective, like it'd be, you know, 4,000 to 5,000 plus.
I was burning so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do because I was doing like 2 sessions a day, and just eating.
You just become like a fat burning furnace.
Yeah.
You're just constantly
it's just
burning food. Just in and then like just constantly burning.
Yeah. If only I'd realised that.
Well, yeah. But I think that's. I don't think like it's entirely, you know, an individual's responsibility to some degree because of the amount of false information that surrounds the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even still to this day, we still get people that think that they're just going to do CrossFit and magically appear in shape. Like it doesn't work like that. But that's the
I think
things.
like my mind was just like, I need to be fast at running, so I'm just going to stick to it.
Yeah. And along the like kind of journey of the triathlon, you were running with clubs, swimming. Did you do that by yourself, or were you doing that with teams as well?
No, that was all with like a group of people.
Yeah.
I'm not very motivated by myself. I would literally.
But so qualifying for the World Championships, was it like, you know, was there like a swim coach, a running coach, or was there like a management team? Like, was it that kind of style, or was it just you all just leisurely, like doing it competitively? But
yeah, no, we had a triathlon coach, and he'd kind of give us our sessions every day and kind of follow us
and just like you would go to him for advice. And even, you know, how to do things rather than take that burden on your own.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So with regards to the job role, what other events have you organised? What would be a typical day?
At the moment, or when I was?
Let's say pre-COVID, because at the moment it's probably a lot different, right?
Yeah. So at the moment, or before COVID, we were doing. So at the so I work for a institution.
Okay.
So we basically organise events for engineers, which could be like graduations or lectures, conferences, stuff like that.
And now that's all gone online.
Now it's all online, so we're not doing any of the dinners or the graduations. We're just doing the lectures.
So here's your Zoom link.
Yeah.
That's my job done.
Yeah. It's not that easy, but yeah.
Yeah. But that must be a massive change for your day to day.
And I think the working from home as well.
Has that helped you?
I miss the social side of it, like just being in the office and seeing people.
Yeah.
Like we just go and get coffee and like have a little chat, which you can't do at home.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same at all.
Yeah.
I think like eventually we'll start going back into the office, but not before September, definitely.
Because although your job isn't so much like, let's say, customer facing, all the things that are required are very much for people.
Yeah. Well, like on event days, customer facing.
That must be quite a stressful job when at its peak.
Yeah.
Like things being at a certain time, day.
Yeah, everything is like you have to follow your running order, and if it's not on time, then
it causes upset. So the events that you organise are purely for engineering, but you said you organise the events for
sports
as well. Was that just like a one-off kind of thing? Like we've done a couple and that's it. It's not something that you do now.
No, I don't do that anymore, unfortunately. I'd love to get back into it, but that was my job in Italy, and I left that behind.
Yeah.
But out there we were organising so we did the World Champs, and then we organised. It's like the World Series.
Okay.
which is they're just for elite. So they come, like we had all like the Olympians and stuff competing in our races.
Who's the triathlete name to look out, or to like who's like the infamous triathlete?
There's a really young guy that's coming up, Alex Lee. I think he's made it onto the Olympic team.
Okay.
There's also the Brownlee brothers.
That name rings a bell.
Alistair and Jonathan Brownlee.
Brownlee, yeah,
the Brownlee brothers.
Yeah, the Brownlee brothers. Yeah, those ring a bell. What's your kind of goal now for the next like 6-12 months? What do you want from your own training?
From training, in CrossFit or just?
Let's go with triathlon first, and then we'll go in CrossFit.
Oh, I don't know. In triathlon, I'm not really. Well, I wouldn't say I was still doing triathlon. I still run and swim, but I'm not going to compete.
Just leisurely, it'll be.
Yeah. But yeah, I still want to do
keep that up.
Yeah.
It's more about ticking off that bucket list.
Yeah, and I just love if I go for a long run, it please my mind.
Yeah.
Even like the swimming in the lake, that's kind of, that's my favourite thing out of all of it.
Well, the last couple of weeks have been pretty good.
It's been so warm.
Yeah.
I went without my wetsuit the other week.
I've been out regularly.
Temperatures have gone up.
Yeah.
Like the first time this year, I think they opened really early because swimming pools weren't open. So I went out the first time and it was 11 degrees.
Oh my God.
And that was an absolute,
you could have two wetsuits on, it'd still be cold.
I wish I had wetsuits. I had gloves. And boots as well, but it was so cold. I did 500 metres and got out.
Called it a day. What about now, goals like CrossFit wise?
CrossFit, I've got so much to work on. I've got in my head, I've got some goals that I want to
achieve,
get to. Most of them are just adding weights to the bar. I need to get a bit of power in there. And gymnastic stuff.
Is that something that is like your nemesis? Is that what you're majorly trying to improve? Is that where you'd say your weakest area is?
The what, sorry?
The gymnastics element?
I think I'm pretty weak at most things. I think at the moment I want to focus on sort of bar stuff. So I'm doing a few sessions with Grant now to build on that.
To build on those?
Yeah.
What would you say is your least favourite movement within the CrossFit world?
Where do I start?
You don't have to demonstrate it, just...
My least favourite movement.
Is it barbell based?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anything with bars.
Snatches, cleans.
All of them.
All of those.
Just one ball. Just anything bar related. You've got a bar in the middle, and then little everything. That
and
comes
what about your favourite CrossFit movement? You're not allowed to say running.
Yeah, I was going to say running. The only thing I can do wellish. I quite like burpees. I think everyone hates them, but
I quite like burpees. Well,
I can kind of just get into them, power through,
just dig away at them. And last question? What's life now going to be for you? As soon as this kind of, hopefully in 4 weeks' time, we come out of this lockdown, what are you? So we kind of training wise, we know what we want to do. We're going to start trying to tick off that bucket list.
I want a holiday. That's the
first thing.
Yeah.
First place, Patagonia. Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be the first place. I think that's going to be a big trip. So I'd probably say somewhere in Europe, but I need to decide where and book it. The thing is, I keep cancelling trips. I had so many booked and just have to cancel them. So I want to make sure that if I do book it, it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
It's so hard to cancel flights.
I can imagine.
It makes me so sad.
I just haven't done anything because I just can't be dealing with the cancel, get the money back, do it again.
It's more sad for me to have to you get your hopes up about going somewhere and then it's just another one cancelled.
Yeah. Well, there's 12 or 13 countries going to go onto this amber list if
Yeah.
you have got a double jab, if you don't have to quarantine.
Yeah, I need to wait for my second jab now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I should dive into talking about COVID and the jab.
Oh, no, let's not. Let's keep it on holidays.
Okay, well, we've run out of time. It's been great to have you on. Thank you for your time. Guys and girls, join us back next week.